Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's keeping well. Welcome back. Today's video, we're going to be discussing the Spurs Rangers game. We're going to talk about the protest, just a bit of news around Spurs. Look, guys, the whole protest thing is really heating up now. It's getting promoted a lot over social media. YouTube channels are discussing it. I really encourage as many people as you can to get down to that protest on Sunday, the 22nd of December, 3 o'clock before the Liverpool game. It's well overdue. We all know the main issues lead back to the board. They need to go. They need to address so many issues that we're currently facing. We're not competing. That transfer window was an absolute embarrassment, to be honest. And look what sort of problems it's causing us now. We're not even at Christmas yet. We've got so many injuries. Got no centre backs. The problems are mounting. Yes, Ange. You all know how I feel about Ange. He's not helping himself. But the root lie is the board. So look, let's get into it before we talk about the Spurs Rangers match tonight, which is a big game. It's an important match as well for Spurs. We really need to get the points, but we'll come on to that a little bit later. So I was reading this article off Even Standard this morning, and it's all kind of saying like it's just another collapse from Spurs, and he's just too stubborn. Side is too open. His players too inconsistent, and it's not a good run, is it? It's like one win in seven. Um, it says Ange is Daniel Levy's 12th permanent manager, and a lot of people are questioning the manager now. It's all over social media. It's all over Sky Sports. People, on Sky Sports and Talksport, are saying, "Look, Ange, you can't continue to play this way. It's not working. You need to adapt in games." In that game against Chelsea, we're 2-0 up, and that's when he should have really managed the game so much better. And Chelsea really just showed us up in that match. And I was reading yesterday that Maresca he adapts for games, opponents he's playing. He said he saw Spurs game against City, he saw Spurs game against Bournemouth, and he adjusted it. He adjusted to the opponent, and that's a sensible manager. That's what you need to do in the Premier League. It's highly competitive. Every game is different. And Ange, he says, no, I'm not doing it. I'm staying playing this way and that way only. And what compounds the issue is that even with the injuries we're suffering, he's still not changing and trying to help this team to get us more results. And it is a failure for me. Now, there's a whole load of thing about Romero, isn't there, in the last couple of days? And he was coming to Ange's defence, and he was pointing towards the board. And Ange has something to say about that in a minute. We'll get on to. Um, he's basically saying that it's the same. First, the players, then the coaching staff changes, and it's always the same people responsible. Romero told Argentinian TV after calling for Spurs to match the spending of City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. And this is what it is, if we truly ever want to compete, we have to match their spending. But it's not just the spending, it's the wages. We don't pay the wages for the top players, and that has to change. This stadium is bringing so much money in. There's so much add-ons to this stadium. Surely there's enough money to break that wage structure and show to the fans that we are seriously competing. But that transfer window just summed it all up. It was just, we're not serious. And I've been saying it all season. I said it at the beginning of the season. I've been saying it all throughout. So many people have as well. So, what else does he go on to say? He says Levy, the Spurs chairman, did not pick or coach Sunday's team, nor did he give away two careless second half penalties, but he remains the key figure in the hierarchy, which has created conditions for increasingly another frustrating campaign for the club. Like, we've completely fallen off, to be honest. Look, we're 11th in the league, lost 7 games. It's just not good enough. Unlike many of predecessors, Postecoglou has been nothing but positive after Spurs transfer business since he joined. He's been backing it. He's been saying he's happy with the transfer window. Perhaps it's therefore taken long to see the wood for the trees this time, but the harder you squint at Postecoglou's squad, and the more it's plummeted by the schedule, the more ill-equipped it appears for challenge at hand. We're just not got the squad to compete on all 4 fronts. It's just simple as that, really. And the club have let the team down so much, and the fans and everybody. Levy and the club knew exactly what they were getting with Postecoglou, but the 59-year-old is the latest manager to be left short of the resources to compete at the levels supporters demand. Postecoglou is a better fit for the club than Jose Mourinho or Conte, even if uncompromising approach has fostered a similar culture war amongst fans. Look, it's just a constant, isn't it? With the fan base, like people are backing the manager, people are not. People want him to, people want him out. There's people in the middle don't know. There's people like, well, what's the point sacking another manager? Here we go again. People are not convinced that another manager is going to come in and actually improve the team. But Spurs' issues feel bigger than the coach. So sacking Postecoglou without a change of policy would be pointless, exactly. And this is leading back to the article that I'm reading through at the moment. In 2018, Pochettino wanted a total refresh of the squad. Spurs were the first ever Premier League club not to sign a single player in the summer. It's just embarrassing, isn't it? It's embarrassing. Pochettino, the board really truly failed him. Mourinho complained at getting Joe Rodon when he wanted a top centre half. When Conte wanted an elite wing back, he was given club signing Jed Spence. And these just ongoing issues lie out for all these managers over the years, and it's just not acceptable. So last summer, aiming to build a positive maiden season under Postecoglou, Spurs spent 65 million on Solanke, an excellent player, along with three teenagers, all whom are promising but ready to move the dial for a manager with ambitions to win the biggest honours. Sorry, not ready to move the dial. So you look at Solanke, okay, Premier League player, scored goals last season. Is not doing it every season. It was like his best season in the Premier League. Had a great season for Bournemouth. A lot of money for him, but then it's obviously because he's English, it's always going to be more. Two players they were considering was Neto and Tosin from Fulham, but they both ended up at Chelsea. And this is what I mean. Like Chelsea, they spend the money, they spend the wages, and that's what happens. And on the show the other night on Beyond the Lane, cracking show by the way. We were talking about this. It's really simple. You sign the top players, you get better results. It's really as simple as that. Spurs, they're just signing young players who are not ready to come into the team. We have more games this season. We're all saying it. We're so short in so many areas. We've got no DM, we've got no cover at left back, we've got only 3 centre backs at the club. It's first team centre backs, and it's just it's an actual disgrace. And no wonder everybody's really up for this protest, because it's absolutely shocking, isn't it? Yes, Ange Postecoglou, he does not help himself. He's so stubborn. There's that, of course. There's a massive part of it as well. You can blame them all: the recruitment team, Levy, Ange, and and the way it's going this season is an absolute failure. So there's so many injuries. It goes on about Bentancur suspension. Mikey Moore's been ill for such a long time. We haven't seen him for weeks. And it says here, Postecoglou's squad is built around too many inexperienced or flaky players and not enough proven quality. And this article is spot on. It is. Look, they say that Postecoglou owned the summer business, but intense focus on youth, which was a strange pivot from the previous year when Spurs bought a handful of players aged 22 to 26 who immediately improved the X. We talked like Van der Ven, Maddison, players like that coming in. Look, it's just the same old, isn't it, with Spurs? Levy Spurs have a history of not paying the fees needed to elevate the team. It has ended up with no silverware and the manager's head. And Romero is not the first player to question the club's investment. Danny Rose had an explosive interview in 2017-18 saying he'd have to Google the players because he'd never heard of them. Then there was the famous Conte rant. And look, it's just so many issues, really. There's so many issues. What else does it come and say here? It says, Levy has said Spurs cannot expect to compete in a market with state-backed clubs such as City, which is perfectly true. But there's often been a sense that they could do more. They could do a hell of a lot more. That stadium is breaking it in. It comes back to the chairman's caution in the market. Again, take it from someone who knows. Tottenham's record appearance maker in Premier League, Hugo Release. The Frenchman's recent book includes an antidote about Levy from 2019, which Levy says left wondering, does the club really want to win? 5 years and 4 permanent managers later, That's the question feels as relevant as ever. So just nothing ever changes. Nothing ever changes under the board, the club, how they operate in the market. And, change is needed urgently. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this board. I'm sick of how we operate as a club. I demand us to be better. I will demand it. Year on year goes by, the demands will be coming more and more from me and many, many, many others. We've got the stadium, we've got the massive ground. We need to be competing. We need to have a team that can match that stadium. And we've got such a fantastic history, Spurs, of winning cups, challenging, competing, playing good football. And at the moment, it's all going nowhere. So look, let's jump into Postecoglou's press conference yesterday. Let's see what he has to say. I'm not going to read it all because a lot of it's waffle. Let's see let's go. He says, are you looking forward to a big game? He says, yeah, it's significant for a couple of reasons. When the draw came out, it was the one that was the most interest to me, obviously, because he was managing Celtic. He said he's looking forward to it. It'll be a good game. And in the context of where we are in Europe, an important game for both clubs. A positive result gets you a good way getting through to the knockout stages. So looking forward to it. So he doesn't obviously acknowledge the importance of the match. He's talking about the atmosphere, which is going to be good. Like Rangers are going to be well up for it. Talking about the atmosphere, the players should be used to that. They went to the Galatasaray a few weeks ago. It's going to be kind of like a similar atmosphere. It's going to be loud. Going on about being unlucky with injuries. Romero's out for 6 weeks. They asked him how frustrating is it. He said, yeah, it's very frustrating. We lost Ben Davies. What else is he saying? Yeah, nothing really too exciting. Van der Ven's out. He's not back to the new year. Oh, happy days, isn't it? So we got no centre backs really. They're not out to the new year, so they're going to miss the Man U games. They're going to miss games against Southampton, Liverpool games up until Christmas. There's not an actual date for Romero when he's coming back. And then he was asked, is this the worst injury crisis you've ever faced? And he said it has been by a far stretch. It was asked, was it bad luck or do you look at other factors? Look, he's not going to really admit that my training is causing these players injuries. I mean, the reports are that the training between games is just as intense as the match days, but obviously he's never going to admit that, is he? So yeah, it's on about Romero now. He obviously had to talk about it. This is what he says. In the context of the day, Christian was really disappointed, obviously, more than disappointed that he worked hard to get back. It was a big game for obvious. He knew that he had to go off and watch the team, have to feel the pain of another defeat in the manner it happened. He was obviously very emotional. He's a leader at the club, hasn't been able to help us. And I think it was a way of trying to get a leader, us to help the group. We're going through a tough time and he believes is what we're doing. And then the other part of it, he went about it the wrong way. He's passionate about having success at the club, and the way he expressed it was not right in a public sense. I don't feel, and it's certainly not my belief, that our challenge at the moment are more down to one person. I don't believe that. I never believed that. Whatever we need to do, we have the power to do that, but it'll only happen if we stay united as a group, particularly through difficult times. Get through this. I fully believe if you can do that, you can come out stronger. And Christian realised what he said. A lot of what he said was good, some wasn't, and shouldn't have been done in public. We will deal with these things internally. The same way I wouldn't criticise a player or anyone else. We shouldn't be doing that in a public sense. Talked about repercussions. Obviously, they're going to deal with that internally. Now, my thoughts on that is just Romero is just calling out the board, and it needs to be done. It does need to be done. Obviously, he's not going to challenge or question the manager's style of play. Yeah, just carried on with the video. To come inside, it was raining. So yeah, just finishing off with the press conference. I mean, they're going to be speaking to Romero internally. He's going to be out for some time. Archie Gray is going to be playing centre back tonight, it looks like. I would play Dorrington myself. I would play Gray midfield alongside Benson Core tonight. I want to see him in midfield. I'm fed up with seeing him in the back line. But Ange looks like he's going to play him there, so it is what it is. Yeah, not really much to said else in that press conference, really. Talking about the atmosphere and the Rangers game, which should be good. It's a game we're going to need to win. Look, let's get into the Tottenham Rangers game tonight. Now, Rangers, they've got into a bit of form lately. The one form the spin. They're out of the title race. Beginning of November, they're talking about getting rid of the Rangers manager, but he's got a bit of form together. So look, I don't know if you guys know who the Rangers manager is. It's Philippe Clement, an ex-Belgian player, quite a success in his home country, winning trophies. He's managed a few teams. So who is Philippe Clement? This is a guy who he's used to working on a small budget. He was working at Monaco. He won titles as a manager, managing Club Brugge. So he has got a history of success in the leagues he's played in. Didn't achieve much at Monaco. So this is what he has to say about his style of play. So he says that, hold on here, let me just read this out to you. So yeah, so just a little bit more about him. He enjoyed a successful playing career, winning 10 major honours in Belgium, 38 international caps. 10 of those playing years were spent at Bruges, where he initially returned following retirement. But Clement did not fall into the trap of believing that his success on the pitch would immediately translate to a career in the dugout. He spent years working in academy and as part of the backroom staff at Bruges, only venturing into management 6 years ago. So he's fairly a new manager. So Clement is not a manager who has a set style of play or a favoured formation that he's rolled out at each previous club. He referenced an attacking and creative style before discussing automated movements and interchanging positions. He always tries to adapt to the profiles he has available and to the opponent. When pressing, he often uses a man-for-man approach everywhere on the pitch. This is typically Belgium, was how one current manager in the Belgian top flight described Clement's style. If you dominate the league with teams like Bruges or Rangers, that's good enough because the individual quality is clearly higher than that of the opponent. But if the league is more balanced like Ligue 1, then he can become a problem from my point of view. Clement is known to tailor his approach to the players he has available. At Club Brugge, he was offers favoured a back three during his second season, whereas in France, a 4-4-2 was often utilised to accommodate two strikers. Importantly, while he adapted opponent in aspects of his tactical plan, this should not extend to a constant tweaking and tinkering game upon game that is at odds with the consistency required by the current squad. Rangers need identity first and foremost to be successful domestically. It may take Clement time to find balance, especially at this stage of the season, but once uncovered, the focus will be, hopefully, be on familiarity. So the biggest thing for him is not necessarily about the opponent. He tries to stick to his principles as opposed to adapting his team to play. He won't always change how he presses, for example, was how one former member of staff described Clement's approach. Look, he's, it's a bit contradicting that, isn't it? Because he says he can adapt, but then observations from other people around him said he doesn't adapt. So let's have what his thoughts about the game tonight. So he believes it's a special night at Ibrox Stadium, taking on Spurs. Both clubs currently on 10 points from 5 games, and Rangers sit 8th in the league in the phase table, and Spurs are sitting 9th. It will be all to play for, he said, tomorrow. Rangers, of course, have enjoyed victories over Malmo, FC, SB and Nice in the competition so far, whilst also picking up a point following a away draw with Olympiacos on match day 4. Clement insists his squad will go into tomorrow's evening match with confidence, but he's also fully aware that it's difficult playing against Spurs, as he described them as a star-studded side. He said it is a big challenge, but that's what we like, that's what we love, and that's what we want you to see. We all have already in the past year had a few good opponents here on European nights, and this has been a big history of that. So for players, these are very challenging and really nice evenings that can write history in that way. That's why players want to play for Rangers also. Spurs travelled to Ibrox on the back of 2 draws and 2 defeats,
which followed their incredible 4-0 thrashing of Manchester City. Clement continued, "Of course we can talk about things with players. We can show them things, and we try against every opponent to find weaknesses or less good points and also how to stop them. That is our job to do together with the analysts that we do have, and we look at every opponent. Every team has that in the world, and it's about looking for that." So he's obviously been sending his team to watch Spurs, so he's going to know how to play them like most managers do. A few weeks ago, you saw Spurs play Manchester City, and they were not in such a bad moment. So it's the Premier League, it's the highest level in the world, and you can lose points. But I think this is a really good team. On Rangers' current recent form game winning streak, their form going into tomorrow's game against Ange's men, Clement added, "It's the evolution that we wanted. Maybe we wanted it faster, but I think we're in a good place. If you see everything we had to do from the start of the season until now with all circumstances. The last couple of weeks, it's very clear for everybody to see that the team is becoming better and better, and there are really few good results and performances. We want to continue that way." So look, he's fully aware of the challenge ahead. He's up for it. He's going to get that team Rangers playing tonight. He acknowledges that it's a tough game, but also that his team's in good form, and they're just going to have a go. It would really obviously help them as well, getting another 3 points, getting them closer to qualification. So there's a lot on the line today's game. It's so important that Spurs turn up and put in a good performance. Now, man to man, we're better quality than Rangers. Obviously, it's the occasion. It's playing away from home. We're not in form. Our defence is all over the place. A lot of injuries. Ange will probably play the same old way. So there's probably going to be goals tonight. Looking at the way Rangers play, they play 4-2-3-1. Their fullbacks stay. Yeah, so let's get into some team news. Rangers have been dealing with several injuries all season, but they have recently found form. And Philippe Clement is likely to continue with much winning recipe as he can. Ingus, Hagi, Delano, Rabi, Monte are all ineligible after not being registered in the European squad at the start of the season, while the likes of Tom Lawrence and Nero Kasho remain sidelined through injuries. Young summer signing Hamas Igmani is likely to continue attack. However, after netting 4 in the last 4, with Civil Desert set to be on the bench once more, while Oscar Cortez could return to the squad after training. Barami returns to the side. Captain James Taverner has bounced back after losing his place in the team to score twice in the last 2 games, while Mo Diomani should return to the side in place of the eligible Ines Hagi as a number 10. With Igmane moving into central striker position, Barami should return to the team on the left wing. So look, guys, I don't really know too much about the Rangers players. I've got to be honest, I don't follow them, but they are in some form. Now it's up for Spurs now to get that win tonight. They need to win. They need to go into the automatic qualifiers into the next round. Have something to look forward to in the new year. Tough game. You just don't know what you're going to get with Spurs. You know, man to man, as I said, we should be beating Rangers, but with our defence looking how it is and Ange not changing the style of play, it's going to be a tough old game. Could go either way. And look, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Guys, give us your comments on the video. Anything you want to comment on, just leave a comment in the box. What are you expecting tonight? Expecting Spurs to win, lose, draw? Give us your opinions. I think it will probably be a draw myself. There'll be quite a few goals. Get a point away to Rangers. We're not in a good form. Ange is under massive pressure, and another defeat for Ange tonight will be another step closer to him possibly losing his job when we go away to Southampton on Sunday. So guys, I hope you'll enjoy the match. I'll be back tonight after the game with a post-match review. And as I said, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.